Hello everybody. Going to be resuming the stream today to try and finish up what we were working on yesterday. We ended up having the @export annotation that we were able to run on a project, but we were getting some bizarre parse errors at the end of it. Maybe that was like just after I closed the stream. I was trying to kind of save the work a bit, and while I did get it updated to actually use the global script flags enum that we had set up, where it was like serializing and deserializing that value instead of the is exported bool that was like way earlier in the stream. Now I'm all of a sudden getting some weird parse errors where it says there's a null character, and then it like throws an error. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to try and figure out what is causing that. I have a feeling it has something to do with the way that I modified the project file in Visual Studio Code, in VS Code, because that is really the only thing that I actually did. That's the only file that they would be parsing that would be doing something like that, I would think. Where's my... There we go, Godot. There. Yeah, so if I bring up the output log, yeah, we get all these. Unicode parsing error. Some characters were replaced with spaces. NUL character. Something replaced with spaces. So I'm like, where did this come from? Like, why is this happening? And there's a lot of it too, so I'm not exactly sure. Is this happening like once for every script maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Crap, that's gonna be too hard to count. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 actual resources. Maybe that's what it's in reference to. That would mean that it was triggering a problem like when parsing things that aren't even GDScript though. That doesn't sound right. Do I need to try this with a totally different project maybe? Yeah, like if I create a different project, is it also going to happen there? Unicode parsing error. Because the original change that we had put into place was we made a modification that added the flags to the global script class information, and that's just an enum value. And then we made it so that you could add an export at the top in order to export the class. Although, okay, well that's a bug. You shouldn't be able to have at export if there's no class name. So I'll have to fix that. Hello, James Scott. Welcome to the stream. Need to get your fix of C++ engine development today. Need to set up the compilation options for this probably. Debugging, or not compilation options, but debugging. There we go. So E path. In this case, I just want to run the editor first to create a project, because I want to know if my code is responsible for generating this parse error. I mean, it has to have been something that I did because it only triggered after I made the changes I made. Right? Something like that. Yeah. I would really like to be able to get, these features done before the feature freeze, but it's gonna be kind of tough to get it all in there, I think. Because I also have other, like, actual work things that I have to get done, so I don't really have a lot of time, unfortunately. Okay. So if I make a new project and source repos, I'll have the demo inspector source. Actually, this isn't really that. It's just a demo for what GDScript exportable GDScript types. I don't know. Create folder and create and edit. And then this will end, yeah. But it will open up the project. And what do we get? Come on. Waiting for Godot. There we go, finally. Okay. And we still get the error, right? And it did it twice, even though there's only one file. So it's not doing it like once per asset. And it did it on the PNG file. So it did it twice for that. How is that happening? Okay, and this would be a push error, right? So what if, wonder if I defined the editor push error thing. Editor node, I think it is. Yeah, editor node. Should have push error, right? No, okay. Be in the CPP file then somewhere. Where's a function or something static that needs initialization that I can use to jump the other code? There we go. CPP, and then this will call push error. No, there's no push error in here. Okay, where does that happen then? Is there like a dedicated window for it now? I used to have a push error function. Because I want to set a breakpoint, and then I can see the call stack at the time that the errors are being pushed, so I can trace where the error is taking place. Editor, there's nothing like editor error. Editor log, aha. There we go. Error handler. Add message. Message type, okay. Let's do this, I guess. Right, and file, line. Error handler. And where is this used? Or is there an actual like push error thing? Load state, clear request, add message. What is a thing like? What line of code actually adds the message? I'm guessing that's it, but constructor dinit. Okay, yeah, so I guess the add message is what I want. Yeah. So then let's set a breakpoint here. And we'll close this. I don't really need the project. It was just a like purposeless project. So now that the breakpoint is there, I can restore the path here. Okay. Apply. Okay. Rerun this. We'll get back into the main project, and we should now be able to get a glimpse of the call stack when these errors are being. How's your day going? Got any things you trying to work on over the weekend? Okay, wait, here we go. That's the log, basic log of the Godot version and creators and stuff. Modules, FPX file. Yeah, that's not my thing. It's this. Okay. Able to read memory. Line edit button. Debug adapters. Okay, no, that's not my thing. GDScript language server. Here we go. Unicode parsing error. So during notification, save file system cache. Okay. There's a Unicode parsing error here. Okay. Save file system cache operator. 495 a plus operator for string. I'm guessing would have been like because of the thing that I added at the end here. What changed? Like all I did was add this bit at the end here. So script class icon path, resource script path, script class flags. Is there something they specifically do when something isn't a string? Aha, I to S. Integer to string, they specifically do that. I'm not doing that. I to S. I bet that is probably what I need to be doing. Yeah. Let's try this again then. Finishing things from your wedding in 2 months. Oh, hey, congrats. Yeah, that's actually really cool. Been married myself for quite some time now. It is a lot of work, but a lot of fun. 'Tis an amazing journey. You guys just doing a wedding like locally, or are you doing like traveling for it, or? Local, nice. A lot of people I suspect are kind of keeping things nearby. I have a lot of friends and family that have had marriages even like in the midst of the pandemic, and I was like, oh man, you guys are, like trying, you're like creating a big gathering and all this, craziness was going on. I'm like, yeah, but we're gonna be like super careful about it. And I'm like, okay. They would, I was like, it's not as serious now because things are a little bit better, at least in my area. But yeah, it was, at the time it was kind of crazy. They were, they basically had an outdoor one, and made sure that everyone kind of stayed far apart ish. And then, oh, I can take out the breakpoint. And then they also had an open air restaurant where they had the, after the, not aftermath, but I forget what it's called, but yeah, and it did work out pretty well. So. First time planning it was October 2019. Wow, city canceled. This is round 2. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, hopefully you guys can get through everything right. You guys can do it. And hey, look at that. We got rid of our errors. Great. Yeah, it's a panda. Yeah. Alrighty, so now I can teach the CreateDialog and EditorResourcePicker not to display things that have export or global script none. Or rather, they need to have global script export in order for them to be displayed. So CreateDialog, CPP, there we go. We probably should modify the default template as well so that it has the at export flag. They really, now that I think about it, they really should they should update the documentation so that it, like that, they need to add annotations to the core script API. That way, the API docs like that way they can actually have attributes for C# or for GDScript or other languages that have annotations, and actually have it be part of the built-in documentation that they can look up and do all that kind of stuff with. But it just occurred to me, I'm like, oh, well, you can't actually look up what @export does for various contexts because the documentation just isn't designed to facilitate that because it's not part of the core API. It's specific to a certain language. So I'm like, I was like, even though the core doesn't need it, it would be really nice if they could do that. Okay, CreateDialog. Where they fill type list. Yes, here we go. Script server, get global class list, complete type list. Aha, see, yeah, we don't want this, right? Or I guess you just iterate over this and then take it out of the type list, or do you just skip it? Should hide type. Ah, this is probably what we want. Yeah. Else, if not script server is global class, return true. Should hide type if it's not one. Yeah. Global class path, and then this is where they allow you to toggle it with the add-on enabled stuff. Yeah, which already is kind of broken because that means that your add-on has to have an editor plugin, which is like, even if it's not doing anything with an editor functionality. Stupid. Anyway. But in addition to this, if I guess you need global script flags. Flags is equal to script server get global class flags type if flags ampersand export script global script, yeah, global script export is zero. No, I need it if it's not the case. I don't know. What's the right way to do that? Right? You need it to be ANDed with it. I mean, I could just say not like that, but I feel like that's a little messy. If you're ampersanding it with that, then it would clear the lined up bits, or sorry, it clears up everything else except for that, which then yields something that would be non-zero if it has that value. So that's to check if it has it. If you say or, no, you wouldn't do or. You do like or the flip of it. Is that it? Or and then flip. I forget how to do that, like inversion of it. No, I'll just do it this way for now because I don't want to have to figure it out. I always do like brain gymnastics to figure out the right bitwise operation. Let's see, it's not really that bad, but it's just harder to visualize without actually like writing it down. Flags. Okay, so then if it's not return true, because you're supposed to hide it. Yeah, global class is not exported to editor. Okay, like that. And then that's for the CreateDialog. And then EditorResourcePicker here also has stuff it looks up. So this would be the drop-down list that it generates, right? File selected, update menu, right? Update menu items, here we go. And then it iterates over a ton of types, right? Add options to copy paste resource. Add item, copy paste. Convert existing resource to another type of resource. Icon item. What? Converts to resource conversion plugin. What? Okay. Wait, no, none of those were what I was looking for. Get resource type? No, that's for copy pasting. What am I? I'm missing something here. Editor resource menu. That's just, I'm guessing, just ensures that the stuff exists. Yeah, add child, it creates the menu itself. And then set create options, edit menu. Oh, here we go, get allowed types. That's what we're wanting to update. Take all the data from cache. Else. No? Oh, they don't have a section where they like filter out stuff. Allowed types. Base type split. We hit a familiar base type, take all the data from cache. Well, this is the global class list, right? Global classes is here. Script class is parent. So I guess I just need to add the check here, the same one we had before. And then if this is the case, then you don't do this one, you just continue, I suppose. If editor node get editor data, script class is parent. For subtype name. Yeah. Then you just continue. And so you don't end up checking this at all because it's not even a viable type to begin with. Yeah, that should work. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, wait, nope. And then there's also, we needed to modify the GDScript implementation so that you're not able to add the add export annotation if the class name keyword is not present. Yeah. Where was that? That was in the parser. Export annotations. Yeah, no, this was up here. Yeah. So parsing the program, start looking at the top level annotations, the added section for export, and potentially you can have other annotations, and then the break equals false. Order here doesn't matter. Class name should be used before annotations, except tool. And export. It might be a little confusing, but and top level port. Head identifier class name can only be used once. Else parse class name. We should do else if head global script flags ampersand global script export. So if that's the case, then push error. Class name can only be used once. Class name should be used. Oh, no, you, so if you, so the issue is if you don't have class name, that's what it is. Yeah, I meant this, we don't want this. So if you encounter an extends and you don't have class name, so I need to check and see what this sets. Or head identifier, that's probably what it sets, right? Current class identifier is equal to parse identifier. Yeah. Okay. Wait, so they have another section that deals with it? Inside of class name, it handles the extends? That's what it looked like for a second. There should be only one of each at most. Yeah. Else, so advanced except tool and export. Just say export. That is confusing though. Class name should be used before annotations. before top level class annotations like tool. Like that, something of that nature. Wait, and so this should be used after. Because then you're able to implicitly have it also work for other quote unquote top level class annotations, which would be things that were like things we're trying to add. Yeah. Okay, so then class name extends, but so the parse name thing actually worked with extends, right? It grabs the extends bit. Yeah, allow extends on the same line. Oh, okay, yeah, which that's fine. And yeah, that wouldn't get in the way of my thing. That's fine. But it's just if you find an extends token and you have not handled the class name token, so that's only in this case. So then here you would say else if head identifier not equal to null pointer, indicating that you already had the class name be assigned. Then you do this. Class name extends should be used after top. Yeah, wait, no, so I don't need to do this. They already have that. I just need to add to the available checks there. Premature annotation or this. Like that. It's a null pointer. So in theory, that should do it. Or wait, build, cancel. This is if the head identifier is equal. Right. Extends should be used after top level class. Wait, no. You want the at export annotation to only be used if a class name is set. But you only determine that later on in the page. So yeah, but extends is capable of following. So global script flags. So you need to check for this after the should break stuff is done. That's really when you have to do it. Because class name and extends can be in either order, and you can't just add it to the check within the export annotations function because that will be processing before it's even evaluated whether there is a class name or extends. So you have to wait until after both of those and then explicitly check if head identifier is equal to null pointer and head global script flags global script not or export. Then you push error. At export should be used for and only apply to top level classes that use class name like that, I think. Period. At export can only apply to top level classes that use class name. Yeah. Okay. So if the head identifier is not set and you are flagged to export, yeah, all right, that should do it. Okay. So hopefully this will let us get the parsing of the stuff working correctly, because I should immediately have an error on the apparently my stuff is lagging or something. I don't know why that keeps happening. But I should just have one error on my script that just does the export but doesn't actually declare a class name. And then once I add the type for it, the class name, then I should be able to still reference the type inside of GDScript as a static type hint, but I shouldn't be able to see it in the inspector or in the CreateDialog. Yeah. I guess I can't really see it in the inspector anyway, because it would be a node type instead of a resource type, but yeah, so I got my error here. It only apply to top level classes that use class name. You would think I could click on this and have it open the relevant script file. I feel like that should be a thing, but anyway. I click on this. Nope. Yeah, they should definitely add that for the little pop-up. Nope, didn't want to do that. Okay, whatever. So here, node 2D, tile 2D. So we'll do class name tile 2D. Okay, so now that works. Can I use it for static type hints still? If I say var tile, some tile of type tile 2D, still works. Okay. And I can use that. Some tile is equal to, oh, actually, no, don't do that. Don't want to trigger a ready. Well, no, that would be safe because it's not being attached to the scene tree, right? I don't think it would do that. Yeah, it's like if I just have the constructor to, I think this is safe though. If you say some tile is equal to tile2d.new, that should be safe, right? That's not just gonna do an infinite recursion thing. Let's try it. Hey, there we go. Just to test, print hi. That I shouldn't just see a whole bunch of hi messages. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. Great. Which I guess I should have done queue free as well, but whatever. That's fine though. So static typing still works. Now I should see VS Code project tile 2D flags 1. Great. Which means tile 2D. Nope, still showed up. Okay, so why is this still showing up here? Oh, I bet because I did the check in an inverted way, like an idiot. Yeah. Hey, object. Welcome back. Source code. Create dialog. Here. Get global class flags. So if flags and script export return true, but this is to say that you're not showing it, right? So that should have worked, right? Plugin is not enabled, return true, yeah. So why is it showing up in here? Oh my gosh. Okay. Why it didn't do recursive calls? Oh yeah. So underscore ready is a notification function. So there's like the underscore notification function that all the objects in Godot have, and various notifications will be sent because export allowed in scene only. No. It's every object will have this. So even low-level things like the main loop class or the scene tree class, like they'll have this underscore notification function, and that's based on a very big enum for notification underscore something that tons of objects will like add things to, essentially, as kind of just done implicitly because they're not all like referencing the same notification declaration, but they just assign different integers to it, so it all kind of just works because they're essentially global variables or global identifiers in the code base. But if you like look for notification underscore, something in, I think if you just do notification underscore in the scripting API like web search, then you'll actually find all the different declared constants for all these different classes where they provide their own notifications. So for instance, like main loop has, the window regained focus or something like that, right? So it can like detect when that's happening. So underscore notification takes in that request and triggers it. Notification ready is one of those notifications and is triggered by any node. And it specifically triggers when the node has been created and added to the tree and all of its children fully instantiated and initialized. So if you just create the node, but you don't add it to the tree, then it never calls the ready function, which is why there's an underscore init function in GDScript that's the actual constructor, and then underscore ready is just for nodes that triggers after all of their children have finished initializing. Hello, Impacto. Back. Are you continuing the job? Yeah. So we got the export keyword to parse correctly, and it's all tokenized and stuff, and it is updating the global script export flag correctly, but we need to get the editor to actually respond to that information now by properly filtering out things that don't have the export flag set up. Correct. So I created my tile 2D object, but I didn't say add child, some tile, and so it never actually added it as a child, so it wasn't in the tree. Therefore, it didn't have any children to initialize as far as the scene tree could recognize, and therefore the notification was never called on it, so it wasn't ready. But if I had added it, then presumably it would have called ready, I think, maybe? I know enter tree definitely would have been called. I think ready would also have been called, but I'm not entirely sure because it triggers after all the children are initialized. But technically, the children are initialized, after your initial constructor is done and it's like created all that stuff. So it could be that either it triggers as soon as it's added to the scene tree because it's already got all of the children from its constructor, or it's something that only instantiation of a node from a packed scene resource does, because the packed scene resource is, it's not relying on the constructor of the node. It is, but it's doing more than that. It's also configuring and creating a bunch of child nodes. So the packed scene would then be the thing that's saying, hey, this node is now ready because its children have been created and have reported that they're ready. So it would be the one that's calling the notification ready function on all of those nodes as they're being created and reporting that they're done being initialized and stuff. So wait, export keyword isn't implemented already in editor? No, so the export keyword is, but it only applies to, like properties that are visible in the inspector. I'm trying to expand the domain of it so that it also can be applied at a class level for the class name keyword, so that you have to opt in to making your global classes be recognizable in the editor, like CreateDialog and the EditorResourcePicker and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you wouldn't have an infinite loop or a Stack Overflow unless you actually added the node to the tree or we're trying to instantiate it from a packed scene, whichever thing triggers the ready. But if you just create the node and never add it to the tree at all, then it definitely is not going to call the ready function, as we just tested. So, and yeah, the underscore ready is just like a function wrapper around the underscore notification function with the passed in argument notification ready, which is the enum value. So if you put a timer, oh, I mean, yeah, if you like, I guess you could set up a timer so that it like creates another one, but but you'd have to like add it to the tree to get it to do that stuff. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Need to find out, let's see, so the p type is tile2d. We got the flags, which has global script export, and it didn't do that. I must be misremembering how that stuff works. Global script export. If it's, gosh, I always hate this stuff. So flags ampersand with an x with the 1, right? So if you're anding it, then you have to say, oh, I think you have to say if the thing is equal to this and the value, right? Because it would clear it out if it had the same value. Or no, so if global script export is anded, and it says if the bit is 1, you clear the corresponding bit, right? They both have to be a 1 in order for it to come out as a 1. So flags has to be 1 in order for you to get a 1 in the output result. And then, so it would end up being true if it would have it, right? And then if you not that, it would end up being false. Oh, wait, yeah, so that's the reason. I need to, right? If it's, no, that's right, because we're trying to do the opposite case. If it's, oh, gosh, I hate this stuff. Once saw PNG image that call orders of all the notification calls and ready init functions, but I couldn't find it again. Orders of all the notification calls and ready init functions. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I haven't, not really familiar with that. With the call orders of all the stuff. I'm sure there's something in there at some point, but it's init is always the first, like you have the C++ constructor, and then you have the underscore init function, which is like what GDScript calls as the constructor from the script side. General question about GDScript? Yeah, that's fine. Is it possible to take the GDScript parser out of the engine and work with that as a standalone language? I seriously doubt it, in the sense that GDScript is heavily dependent on the core of the engine. Like the core of the engine has all kinds of like basic data structures and algorithms for like math and string parsing and string handling. It actually uses the string and string name types, tons and all that kind of stuff. And it uses like file access to read files and interact with the operating system. Like you can't divorce GDScript from the core. Yeah, that's not really plausible. Yeah, you could ask in Discord. Yeah, like so C++ constructor, then init, and then with a node, you would trigger enter tree and then ready. and then the ready signal would trigger at the end of the ready, because that's how the ready signal works. And then when the node leaves the tree, you'd get the exit tree signal. Yeah. And then assuming it was being freed, there would probably be there's some kind of signal. There's some sort of notification that occurs when an object is deleted. I think it's notification pre-delete, I'm pretty sure is what it is. But there's no built-in function for it. You just have to do underscore you just have to do something like underscore notification and then notification pre-delete. Yeah, there you go. And you just have to check for that. So like in GDScript, you would say like match, p what is equal to, or yeah, so you do this, and then you would say notification pre-delete. Notification pre-delete. And then you would like do something in that case or whatever. Weird notifications, yeah. I mean, that's like I said, like the notification stuff is like used all over the place for different purposes by different classes. And it's weird because they're all like the shared enum by using notification underscore, but they're not actually part of the same enum type because they're used all over the code base, and they can't have like these like different cross dependencies. And so they just use global variables essentially for it because they're global declarations. And just using the notification prefix is what like keeps them all together. And then you have to set it to a specific number that's like not being used by some other notification or something like that. I don't know. Okay. So get global class flags. And then it's because I don't want to test that it is equal to global script export. I want to see if it has global script export, right? If you just say like if you just ended up saying, oh, is some variable equal to flags or global script export, that wouldn't work because like it would just be because global script export is 1. If you OR it with something else, like you're gonna get something that's not 0. So can you get GDScript is so straightforward, no nonce of those. None of those. Yeah. So can you get GDScript and core out of the engine so you can use it as general purpose programming language? I mean, yes, sort of. I mean, supports many tools that modern languages do. Yeah, like there's a headless Godot AP. Like there's a platform for running Godot headless that they are adding to the engine, and then so like there's no physics and no rendering. And then you can also customize the build of Godot so that it doesn't even include, all kinds of scene related stuff or various modules. And like you can just pick a ton of features and have them not be compiled into the engine. And you end up with a smaller binary as a result. I mean, technically GDScript itself is a module. So you could even create Godot without the GDScript language. It's not ingrained into the engine or anything like that. It's just one of the available options when it comes to scripting. So flags, then ampersand. Global script export is 1. I hate that I always forget this stuff every time I'm using it. I have to refresh my memory every time. Bitwise and CDP, like it's like every single time. Always forgetting. Bitwise and operator, right? So yeah, I know if they're both 1, you get that. So then you want to check if something has the value, right? Demonstrates that working bitwise. No, gosh. Complement operator, no. Okay, like I know fundamentally what the stuff does. I mean, in terms of checking whether, okay, yeah, that's not really helping me. That's not what I was looking for. Let's see. I feel like I'm just gonna waste my time trying to do that. Okay, global class flags. So I already know that it has the value. I mean, I could just say equals, or rather not equals, but that's not really what I want to do. I think you say if flags ampersand global script export, you get to say is greater than, no, you don't say is greater than 0. Is equal to 0? Is that what checks it? If flags ampersand global script export is equal to 0. Because global script export is one of the bits. So if you do that, it'll clear out everything except the one bit. And then you can check to see if the flags has that. And if it's equal to 0, then you know it does not have that. Okay, I think that would be the way to evaluate it. And then, so that's the create dialog. And then in which case I need to make sure I make the similar check on the editor resource picker. As it recompiles the editor. Okay. 3:30, so it's been about an hour ish. Okay, there we go. It's going. Getting our project up and running. I look forward to when all the optimization is, added back in and the Godot editor doesn't take so long to boot up. Oh man. All right. So I should be able to say plus. You get in here. Nope, didn't work as I was hoping. Okay. Why is that not working as the way I'm thinking it should? File 2D, which gives us flags, which is equal to global script export. I have to just be an idiot. I mean, I could just say equal to 1, I guess, is what I have to do. I just wouldn't have thought that was the way it worked. I don't know why I'm thinking that that's not the way it should be working, but because if you say flags is ANDed with the global script export, everything that's 0 in global script export becomes 0 in flags, and everything that's 1 becomes 1, which would mean that you have global script export if it's a non-zero value. And I want to check that you do not have export. I would want to see if you are equal to 0, because if you do not have export, then I want to return true. I'm missing something there. Hello, Qubit. Okay, 2 more questions. Networking stuff implemented within Engine's core? And if so, is there HTTP server or just the client? Yeah, there's a ton of networking stuff in Godot Engine's core. Should be all, I think, like they just have it in the core, right? If it's network something, I thought they did. I know they've got some stuff for sure. Thread safety, input, error debugger, crypto config. Is it not there? Like, is it in a different part of the code? Input, IO, it's probably an IO. I don't know why I didn't think about that. IP address, net socket, packet peer, PCK packer. That's not PCK. TCP server, stream peer, UDP server. Yeah, there's a huge variety of things in the engine's core inside the IO folder in the core section. So HTTP server, no. There's not specifically HTTP. There's like an XML parser, but that's all the engine has. So you'd have to add like HTTP logic for, interpreting an HTTP thing yourself. I do think someone in Godot Extended Libraries Discord, there's some kind of project that where you can they took like a rich text label and you could like configure it to work with HTTP. You put HTTP in there and then it actually like reconstructs that stuff in the rich text label because it translates it to rich text and then allows the built-in rich text label in Godot to render it. But it's not exactly perfect because it's just Godot isn't really made to render web pages, like so that's a different thing, but yeah, there's plenty of networking stuff, but there's nothing prepared to actually handle and render web pages properly. Okay. I guess I'll just set this equal to 1. I feel like this is a faux pas though, somehow. Like I'm misusing the logic in order to get what I want. That's what it feels like. It feels like I'm doing something wrong there, which means you don't need that. But I mean, it shows that this is the value I want, right? Flags has global script export. Alrighty, that's what I'll do then. I don't know why back of my mind is just telling me that that's bad, but because I thought that was like, oh, you have export. But that feels wrong. Feels wrong. Wasn't there like a Unity thing? Unity how to bitwise, and someone wrote like a really nice article about it. Bitwise operator. Yeah, this thing. This is what I was looking for. Is ice attack type and attack type dot ice not equal to 0? Yeah, so they're checking to see if it's 1 to see if it is ice. Yeah, it is. It's like I thought. Because if you do an ampersand on the stuff, then you get a positive result. You get a positive non-zero result if it is in there. Sets all the bits to 0 except the ones relative to attack ice itself. Its final value is determined by attack value. If the attack was indeed an icy one, the result will be exactly attack type.ice, otherwise 0. That's what I was thinking. That's what I thought. And yet my logic is not working the way I'm expecting it to under that thing. I don't need to render HTML. I want to do only the server stuff using GDScript because I really love it. Oh yeah, and you're good. You can set up your own server. I mean, technically, as long as you've got TCP or UDP server, and you're handling the incoming sub or net socket, whatever, right? You've got some kind of stream of incoming packets, and you're processing them. Then you can evaluate them and program the decisions for how it, what protocol it's going to use, and create your own custom protocols. Okay. So yeah, here, get global class flags. MP type is tile2d flags, global script export flags ampersand this. And this would be the case where it does have export, but then we're returning true from this function. And then it does not on that and skips it. Oh, so that's the way the logic works. So it never adds it. Interesting. Okay. So they were already kind of inverting it then, right? Tile 2D. Yeah. Okay. That's why it was confusing to me, because they were just specifically returning the stuff in an already like inverted way. Okay. Okay, so now if I wait, what? Oh, it didn't close, it just stopped that section. Let me take out that breakpoint. Go back, and now should be able to go to terrain. So see tile 2D. If I drop down terrain. Okay, so this stuff is probably going the wrong way at the moment, because those things don't have the flag, and yet they're being displayed as options there. EditorResourcePicker. So here, continue. Yeah, so this is the stuff where I would want to say it has to be 0. Oh, whoops. Yeah. So now I should not see any of the other types when I'm looking at that dropdown. The question is, do you set it up so that anything that does have a value is just instantly cleared out? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't work that way if, no, you wouldn't do that. You would just, it would simply not be considered a custom type anymore. That's all. Because it doesn't, it's not like the resource doesn't have the script attached anymore, or that its data isn't there. It just doesn't recognize it as a global script class anymore. That's all. So it won't actually like erase the data or anything like that. Which also means that the data type that it like shows in the bar should actually be the base type, the base native type, as opposed to the global script class type, if it's being handled properly. I'm talking about the way that the resource is displayed in the inspector. Okay, so if I click this, see it still says urban terrain, but see now new terrain, and that's only because terrain has export. Oh no, it doesn't. It's got new terrain because I'm exporting it. Okay. But it also, so it's not giving me the options to create the subtypes, but it is still giving me the option to make the original type. So I need to also make sure that there's a check for the original type to not be included. Where is that being set up? Hash set string of p vector. Why is it p vector if it's a hash set? Okay, get allowed types. But we're inserting into this. Okay, shouldn't this be r vector then? You're passing it in so that you can populate it. And then we need to make this type, or make the same check there then. Yeah, you're passing a reference so that you can update the data in it, right? Yeah, that's a miss naming. Should be R vector. So updated all those, okay. And it's not even a vector, so it should be R set, I guess typeset. There we go. Okay, and then our check here. Flags for base. Or I guess I can do it at the top level and just replace the value, right? Yeah, I can do that. Because we don't want to shadow the other one, we just want to use it basically, because we're not reusing it in different situations. Because you're just going to continue if it ends up having the value. Okay. Yeah. So theoretically that should do it. Excuse me. Base. I wonder if they need the type cache thing. Allowed subtypes. Because if you skip, then you don't actually store it in the allowed types cache. I guess that's kind of the point, because you would say, oh no, there isn't an allowed types cache thing here. I wonder if that's going to have a negative impact on something where, like, you might export a more derived class, but not export one of the base classes. And then because the base class isn't showing up, it doesn't actually end up correctly finding the subtypes that are technically exposed. I bet that would become a bug. So here, yeah, okay, so see, this doesn't have the data anymore. Or sorry, it has the data, but it doesn't have like the name correct anymore. And you can't load it properly, yeah. If I say load, it's just gonna let me set up a regular resource, right? So this is for a terrain. Do I have a terrain? No, I don't. Or is it just not showing? No, test industry, yeah. Okay. Load industry, test industry. So you let me set the file, and now you've got the file reference. But the actual thing is not there. Did I get an error? Oh yeah. Wait, when did these all happen? Oh crap, there's a lot of errors. All right. Not global classes.has p class, returning global script none. Wait, what? When did that happen? Like, it's happened as soon as it started up? Why was that the case? I guess before you try to get the type, you have to make sure that it's a valid global script class. I thought we were already doing that though. Am I not? Yeah, these are the global classes, right? Why would we have gotten that error. Base, which is allowed types, so by strip edges. Base type dot split. Oh, because the base type might not be a global script class. Yeah. If script server is global class base, then you can do this stuff. But you don't have that guarantee. And then global classes is what you collect here. Iterates through all the global classes if we don't have it in the allowed types cache. See, I feel like this is not the thing to do. Allowed types cache or has base. I still want to have allowed types cache for the current record, even if I am skipping. Oh, which means now I do need the global script flags down here. Okay, but yeah, so this line, I still want to do this, even if I am continuing. Oh, but I do, right? Yeah, because it still sets it. It's just not part of the allowed subtypes. Okay, yeah, that should be fine. Restart that. And now I guess I'll need to try and pay attention to the errors I get first. Just checking some messages for a second. Okay. All right, so that would then be the completion of the @export thing if we can get that working. And the next step would be trying to set up the @global annotation for the enum stuff. Enums and constants and static methods and all that jazz. I feel like there's probably something I'm forgetting. I feel like there's definitely something I forgot about this that I already mentioned on stream at some point. I forgot about it. So there's another piece of this functionality that I would have to do. That's annoying me now. Yeah, so this should all be not understanding things now. Wait, it removed the reference to the file? Shouldn't have done that. Oh, did I just never save it? So test industry here. Oh, I can't even do the drag and drop? That's not right. Only failed to set a resource of the type industry resource because this editor resource picker only accepts industry. Oh, wait, okay. That's not good. Industry parentheses the native base type. So someone somewhere set that, and then we're not comparing the type names correctly. I don't know when that happened. Native. No, that's not it. Parentheses. No, that's not gonna be right. Because this editor only accepts failed to set a resource of the type. Failed to set a resource of the type. Here we go. Blaster is type valid, allowed types. See, yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of, because you can, it is an allowed type, it's just not exposed to the editor. But by allowed types, it's like, it's just a resource file. So it has to be presented as its native type if it has global script export, or if it lacks global script export, and not is type valid. So you have to check if is type valid. And then script class is parent. Wait, why would that be failing on this? Well, because the p type name that they're passing in is the wrong one, right? That's what it was saying earlier, that it actually has this first one. Class stir is like something totally different. It's from custom class, which they are assigning here. Get object custom type name. What? Where's this name coming from? Is it possible Godot to have UE5 Lumen and Nanite port because it's just open source? No, not even close, but also yes. So the Lumen thing is basically like Redoes saw that and was like, hey, we can do something like this, and that's when he made his signed distance field global illumination implementation. So the SDF GI lighting system that he added with Vulkan in the new rendering stuff, that's basically Lumen. It's, you know, it's you're really efficiently just creating instant global illumination for arbitrary distances, just like everywhere all at once and effectively. And it doesn't have, it kind of has like a constant performance ish, you know, even if you put a ton of stuff in there versus not a lot, as far as I kind of understand it. Because it's like caching a bunch of stuff with assigned distance fields and representing it that, yeah, so it's inspired. Nanite, totally different story, because that's, I bet that's going to be much harder to port. Because that's, I mean, we do something a little similar now where they're like automatically scaling the meshes based on distance. So you can provide different levels of detail and it'll automatically skip them, you know, skip to the different ones depending on how far away the camera is. But now they also added a feature that can like programmatically reduce a mesh to a simpler version. So you don't even have to manually create a simpler version and provide it. The auto lot is like automatically calculated. So yeah, they have that added into the engine now. Yeah. So it's not the same, right? But it's a similar port. And then if people end up wanting to, you know, expand on it and make it even more like the UE5, you know, proprietary one, then they could potentially, provided they're not, you know, plagiarizing it. And that, you know, doing an API like that in a compatible way doesn't, you know, isn't something that would be like necessity, as long as it's not based on something that's like really required for like the core of Unreal, which I seriously doubt it would be. So like I would suspect that you could replicate similar functionality in an open source engine if you knew how to do it, which is kind of where it comes out to. Like someone has to know how to do it and that person has to implement it. So both implemented with 70% success. Yeah. It's, I mean, the other thing though is that part of the reason it's going to work so well with Unreal is that it provides quote unquote, you know, just works functionality for other kinds of software and tools and assets and materials and whatnot. Well, yeah, I don't know about that. It wouldn't be an overnight thing. Yeah, but I mean, if there is going to be a point at which Godot will have accumulated enough functionality that it could approximate like the lower to middle level of complexity that UE5 can provide. But the big projects and AAA stuff, like those, are probably all still going to be really Unreal Engine focused, which is Unreal's main audience anyway. So they're really not that much of in a competing environment, honestly. Like they just don't have the same kind of competition. And Unity is now moving toward way more towards like mobile and advertising and stuff like that. So they're not really engineering themselves for the same crowd anymore either. Or they definitely will try to implement it, yeah, for sure. And I think we're gonna see more of that over time. I do think what will happen at some point is that some major company that is like, I could choose to work in Unreal Engine or I could choose to work in Godot, and Unreal Engine like has all the stuff we need, but if I work with Godot in the with the impression of I'm going to invest in myself, right? Maybe what they could do is they make whatever limitations there are on Godot that prevent it from being a good flexible tool for huge projects and large teams, right? The things that Unreal is like super good at, supposedly. I don't really know because I haven't worked on such a big project before. But I suspect there's gonna come a day when some team is gonna be like, you know what, we're gonna, you know, tweak Godot Engine enough that it's able to supplement the same kind of use case that or that Unreal Engine is able to provide, even if it's not exactly up to the same standard of level or whatever, but just enough to satisfy our requirements, whatever that company is. And then once that first step is taken, then I bet other companies in a similar predicament will also begin to invest in developing and maintaining that advanced functionality to handle those more complex use cases. And then we're probably going to see some more difficulty in terms of like people choosing one engine over the other, because Unreal Engine is going to still cost you if you make it big. Whereas if you're using Godot, like it's totally free, like that could be a big deal. So, yep. It but it would be a huge like chance slash like risk doing something like that. And people that are operating at that scale are generally pretty risk averse. So it's like it's possible and yet unlikely to happen, but then if it did, yeah. Okay, so the type name that we were getting back was vastly different because it had industry with the resource parentheses after it. Oh, vformat here. That's how they did it, where they got custom class and okay, wait. So they did have it right. If custom class is equal to empty string, then this, otherwise you do this. But so it was the else case. So they had a custom class and is type valid custom class allowed types. Okay. Custom class allowed types. So industry, they would have looked for it in allowed types, right? The allowed types, they iterate over all of the allowed types. If it's in there, or if the p type name. So industry is equal to @ which is you're iterating all of those allowed types. So if industry is in the allowed types, which is the other check they make here for the global script class, and then because we took it out of the export, it doesn't show up in the allowed types, which is why it's not showing up in the dropdown. But then it's also not in the allowed types, so we get all those errors because we had pieces of data that we're attempting to render, right? Set, edit. Yeah, they were trying to assign a resource to it. And because it's not exported, you can't even assign it. Which makes sense, but it's not that I don't want to assign it at all. Like, I still want the data to be there, and it's totally fine for it to be there. It's just not going to be interpreted as that class. Oh, because base type. Because the base type is set to industry, which doesn't make sense anymore. So you need to change the base type if, yeah, base type is set according, yeah, whenever it says what the base type is equal to, that thing has to be something that is a exported type. If not, it just sets it here. Which means it doesn't make that decision. It's GDScript that would make the decision when it's setting up the export. Right? So then you have to make sure when you're configuring GDScript on the export of the export annotations that when you're assigning a class, it has to be something that is flagged as an exportable type. Can assume type is a global GDScript class? Yes. Exported script type must extend resource if global script flags is equal to export type or script server get global class flags export type dot script path type. What's the kind class? Crap. Do I just have the? Yeah, I just have the type, right? Oh, class type. There we go. So they do already have it. Excellent. Int string. What am I doing? The name string last name. Do that, and then last name. And you could set that here. Okay, so then if flags ampersand global script export equal to 0, then so if it's not an exported type, then you have to report an error. Exported property yeah, exported property of type something. Yeah, of type mod s, right? So I need the v format, or can you just give arguments? The origin variable. Oh, I never did that here either. Whoops. variable. Am I building this on top of? Oh yeah, I am. GDResol 4.0. Well, I probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah, I don't want to make that change. I'll have to rebase this. Crap. Oh well. Exported property of type something. I want to give the actual like type name in the thing. Do they have a way of doing that? Maybe not. What is this R thing doing? I mean, I assume it's for something. R. Okay, yeah, that's not really helping me. R. That's just like finding anything that's randomly called R. It's not what I wanted. In GDScript, maybe? Nope. Nope, not gonna help me there. All right. Push error. Cannot use simple annotation with variable. Yeah, okay. That's weird. I don't really know what that is. I assume there's some way that I can get variables embedded in this though. Like, can I put v format in here or something? I feel like that's not going to do what I want. What does p message take, or like push error, right? This should take just a string, yeah. But I'm guessing the R thing allows you to do like translated messages or something. I bet that's what it's doing somehow. Yeah. Okay, so exported property must use a globally exported script type. Or let's see, exported resource script property must use a globally exported script type. With @export. In, let's see, above class name, something like that. That should make it pretty clear. Exported resource. Oh, okay, no, don't do that. Resource script. Exported resource script property must use a globally exported script type with @export above class name. That should work. Okay, so now if I have that, then my stuff should all start having parse errors correctly. And then I would have to go back and add in the @export annotations in order for those parse errors to go away. At which point, my scene files should reload properly with no errors. Uh-oh, build error. What did I do? Did I not close something? No. Initialization of flags is skipped by case label. Oh, because I'm defining new variables. Yeah, can't do that. So these have to be declared earlier. Yeah. And then just set them here. I don't know if I like having that class name be set at such a high level, but it's toward the end of the function anyway, so it's okay, I guess. So then I simply assign the values at that point in time instead. Compiler error goes away for now. Let's see if it runs into the issue again during compilation. Oh. GDScript parser. Looks like it got it. Okay. All right, Godot's booting up again. And so it should see a bunch of parse errors. In my output. Yep. Exported resource script primary must use globally exported script type. So now I have to do this stuff, right? So if I go to industry and I say at export, then that is fixed. And then the things using industry, urban terrain, no longer has the bug, right? Wild terrain does though, because I haven't updated that one to be a globally exported class type or a script class. And then go to natural resource, same thing, at export. That should then fix this by, yep, save that, and you need to add export here if you want it to be visible. Wild terrain on, what was it? Is it just terrain? I will need to do it here at export. Wild 2D. Come on. See, yep, that fixes itself. Then demo TSCN, which is this one. Oh no. All the stuff went away. The exported properties don't show up anymore. Why is it's not even showing the exported properties? That's weird. I mean, now that everything has been marked as an exported type, it should all be good now. Oh, this one's not. But still, like, why is that? It should at least have the property, even if it's not. Oh, that's a T-res, whoops. GD, ext scene. I don't need the GD because it's not a global class. It's a script for a scene. If I click on this, we've got industry. See, it's not even showing the properties anymore. What is going on here? That was after we first opened the editor. So this stuff is, the inspector is just not rendering the stuff at all anymore. That's not right. So why is that happening? Editor inspector. Or it generates the list of items. Notification draw. Label, update property, get property list, something, right? Oh, it would be calling get property list on stuff. This is handling inputs. Property colors. Update cache. Tag data. In flags. Menu option. Find methods. For editor property. Oh wait, I'm looking at all the editor property stuff. And that's editor inspector plugin. Editor inspector category. Section. Array. Paginator or paginator. Okay, here we go. Editor inspector. Parse added editors. Update tree, here we go. Viewport. If property should be drawn with the warning color. I mean, it's not drawing at all. Gets the list of editors for properties. plist.front. So is it just not finding any properties at all? Is that what's happening here? The demo. It says size 10. So P. Name GDScript. That's not the one I care about. Script/source. That's not really the one that I am looking for. Like, it still shows properties, it's just not showing any of the script properties. So why are the scripted properties not showing up anymore? Because the nodes still have scripts. And those scripts have exported properties. Like, confused. It's like the exports aren't being updated on the GDScript files or something. Like, it's not seeing that there are properties now, even though I fixed the issue and like recompiled the script or reparsed the scripts, and like they should be reset. Source code, resource underscore, local to scene. Yeah, it's got all that stuff. That's like the low level thing. Tile 2D. Terrain. Okay, here we go. So it sees the terrain property, which is on my tile 2D. Subgroup, group, category, else. Begins with this. Nope. Nope. So it shouldn't hit any of those. Oh, what? Name begins with metadata or not p.usage ampersand property usage editor. 4098 over the what returned. String begins with returned false. Yeah. Okay, what was the other stuff? Or p.usage ampersand. Okay, so usage 4098. Property usage editor. Crap. 4098. Yeah. 4098 bits. What? can you please give me a binary display of 4098? Okay, so 4096 plus 2, so we're missing the 4-bit. Right? But 1, 2, yeah, so we have editor. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Store if null and editor. So I should have editor. In which case that's not where the error was. There we go. Is property disabled by feature profile? No. Restrict to basic. What does that mean? False. Or false and not this. Well, it wouldn't fall into that case either. Property disabled by feature profile. That shouldn't be true. Ampersand usage editor. Not around that. So if it doesn't have usage editor, except we should have that. Ignore properties that are not supposed to be in the inspector. Oh, wait. So not supposed to be in the inspector. If it's not something that's exposed, quote unquote. Is that what it would treat it as? How's it coming along? Hey, sorry guy. I must have missed your message. It's going alright-ish. So we've got the add export annotation added as the top level thing. And we are getting it integrated with the CreateDialog and EditorResourcePicker. And it's like obeying it, so we can tell them not to display things that do not have the @export annotation at the top of the files. But now it's just not even displaying the properties at all, which I think is a little odd. Like I updated, it correctly took the properties away when I was saying like, oh, I modified GDScript so that it produced a parse error when you were attempting to export something that was not a globally exported type. So that was behavior that was correct. But then when I fixed it by going back to the scripts and adding the @export annotation at the top so that they were globally exported script classes, then the properties didn't reappear. And I wasn't really sure why. So then upon investigating, I see that the editor inspector is falling into this if statement, which has a bunch of different stuff in it. So properties that are not supposed to be in the inspector. And I'm like, okay, yes, they are not supposed to be in the inspector before I had fixed it, but then I fixed it. So why is the stuff showing up in here? Because they don't have metadata /_. So they're not like hidden metadata properties. And the usage on the property is 4098, which means we've got the 4096 and the 2 bits. And if I look at this, 4096 is 13, so we've got store if null as well as editor. So we've got editor, and it's checking that I have editor. And then we have this is property disabled by feature profile, which, I mean, that's the only, because this is the only other option, or, this thing and some other check, but this is false. So the and is going to force this not to be the case anyway. So this is the only thing that could have returned true. I'm going to have to look at what this is doing. But I don't really see how this could have done it. Because get current profile, like I don't even have a feature profile, so this would have been false, I think. I'm trying to diagnose like why it's not, why it thinks it's not supposed to be rendering this property. How did we get in here? Because that's going to affect this thing, right? I get back and I'm suddenly on another property. The node 2D, transform, position, rotation, scale, skew, transform, global position, rotation. All the stuff that was built into it. Yeah, lots of random properties from different things. Wow, that's a lot of stuff for one object. Jeez. Yeah, so that's tile 2D. Why did it think that my tile 2D's industry property, right? Or no, tile 2D. It's this, the terrain property. It thought that terrain was not something that should be exported, even though if I go to terrain, what's the shortcut? Go to function Control Alt F. That's not right. Search. What's the go to docs or whatever? They have a thing for that, right? Find in documentation or something. I know there's a shortcut for it. Now I'm Alt F1. That can't be right. Terrain. Well, I mean, sort of, but also no. Oh, Control click. No, well, yeah, but there was there's like an actual keyboard shortcut for it. I just can't remember. I don't understand, but I'll gladly be your rubber duck. Yeah, sorry. So we've got, I'm adding this, keyword here, or annotation, right? So I should be able to define that this terrain type here, I should not be able to do the export unless I've added export to the top of the terrain type, which I did. I added @export up there. And now that it should be allowed to be exported, I expected to see my properties pop back into the inspector, and they're not. So I'm trying to figure out why the inspector thinks they shouldn't be displayed. Wait, what? Why is it hitting this again? Industry. Yeah, no, I don't want all this stuff. Wait, and industry, that's not even really the thing I cared about. Demo. Yeah, so why is... I don't want to have to like figure out which of all these individual things. Wait, well, wait, what was that? Oh, that's for category, okay. I was like, what? And I don't want to recompile it just to figure out which of these things is doing it. Property usage editor basic setting. Restrict to basic, but we're not doing that. Okay, okay. Property disabled by feature profile. Shouldn't have a feature profile, but just in case, I guess. Jeez. Wait, I didn't hit the breakpoint? Why didn't I hit the breakpoint? There we go. That was weird. Okay, so P, the name tile 2D, that's for the category terrain, right? So here, else if here. So it begins with is not going to have anything, right? Return false. Then I do the next enter into. Oh, come on. I did enter into. What? Else if false, what returned true? It didn't even step into the next thing. Come on. Gosh dang it. I'm gonna have to split all these out just to figure out what's going wrong. Really didn't want to have to do that. Oh gosh, all right. Cool is meta. This is stupid stuff. Cool is not editor usage. Is disabled by feature profile. Cool is not basic. Is meta. Is not editor usage. Is disabled. And is not basic. And then if it's any of those cases, then you do that. And now I can actually see what the things are. Is there code specific telling not to display export variables if there are script errors? Because I get confused by it often. Wish it would show a warning there instead. I would think that export variables vanish when you're attempting to display in the inspector if there are errors on the script. Because if the script has errors, then that means the script object cannot be loaded fully. And if there's no fully loaded script object, then having the ref script dot is valid function will return false, which is usually the check you're making before you actually do any processing on the script, because it's a non-null thing you're confirming, where that's valid, like it successfully created it because it didn't have any errors, something like that. So if there is no script because of some sort of parse or compiler error, then calling getPropertyList is not going to return any of the properties from the script because it did not load fully. So the properties that are flagged as exported properties won't be added to the property list that's being requested from the object that has the script. So I would suspect that the exported properties vanish until you have fixed the problem, and then they would reappear. At least that's what I would think. And if the data is part of a saved file of some kind, or embedded inside of a scene, then as long as you haven't saved the scene while there's an error on the script, then it won't overwrite the scene data or the file data with the not properly saved object data, because there's a script error, so it doesn't have the exported properties. So if you save it, then you'd be overwriting all the data that is preserving your exported variable information. And so you'll want to make sure you've finished repairing whatever's wrong with your script so that the exported variables will be preserved. And then you can save your scene. I do know though that they have this thing that they call there's a script placeholder. and it's like something that like manually copies all of the properties and their values, and I think they'll use that to kind of represent a script before it's, you know, if there's something wrong with the script, it'll kind of like save the data until that it's been resolved, and then they'll stop using the placeholder script and they'll go back to using the real script. It's like it's actually a data type that's like, you know, there's like a whole script language implementation of like placeholder script or something like that, and they'll use this for those purposes, if I recall correctly, or something, you know, that it's like some type of placeholder script and they use that. And I think it's specifically to deal with that kind of a situation. So like setget, I don't know what you mean. I mean, like, I know what you mean by setget, but I'm assuming you mean in terms of like, yeah, it sets and, you know, it sets and gets the properties that are on the object through the scripting API, and it'll preserve whatever data it was able to retrieve from like the last version of it that was working or something like that. And so if something goes wrong with the actual script, then they have a copy of the data that can be like still displayed because it's a script that has the data and it is trying to emulate this other script while you're still trying to fix the original script. Yeah. This, let's let it go for now, I guess. There we go. Hey, it came back. That's weird. Wait, what? Oh, because I'm an ext scene? Is that the reason? What? Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Huh. All I did was move the data to separate bools. That is all I did. Just set up separate bools, and then like it reinserted them. What? I didn't change any of the logic. What happened? Was there something like set in memory somehow that wasn't getting, like, some stateful thing that was being preserved? And what in the world happened? Okay. So there's urban terrain. It's showing up again. Okay, so now if I go into the script for terrain, because right, so tile 2D is exporting a terrain. So if I take out this and then save that, that should trigger errors. Yeah. So now the stuff doesn't have the data. And that's because here I'll get the parse error. And now if I go back here and restore it, and then save the script, come back here, and this is good now. And then I can come back here and it comes back. All right, good. That's what we wanted. Okay. Urban terrain resource because only accepts terrain and its derivatives. Okay, well that's erroneous, or not erroneous, but does not properly convey exactly what the problem is. I guess I should say only accepts terrain and its derivatives. Okay, well, I mean, like, it's not wrong, but also it shouldn't be able to accept terrain at all. Specifically because terrain was no longer an exported type. So we need to have that be something that's specifically checked. And then it should also say, only accepts this type and its exported derivatives. Okay, so theoretically, I shouldn't need this anymore, right? So I'm going to undo all of that. Okay, just in case, I'm going to copy this so that I can paste it back in if I need to. Okay, and then undo all of that. Because that was weird. All right, and then its derivatives. That would be in GDScript parser. Derivatives. No? Oh, EditorResourcePicker. That's what it would be. And it's exported derivatives. Oh wait, no, you'd and it's crap. I need like can I just do a mod s? Hopefully I can. And then you'd have the string content that you would insert is exported equal to, if it is a script class, well, no, you would still say it regardless. Yeah, and it's visible derivatives. Let's go with that. Visible derivatives. No, just say derivatives, and then we'll just have a specific thing for, oh, this type isn't, showing up because it's not exported. Only accepts mod s. What's the thing? Base type. So base type would be, where do we want to put that though? If base type is not empty. If this is the case, then don't even get the allowed types if base type is not exported. If script server is global class base type, then global script flags is equal to script server get global class flags for base type. And then if flags, come on, get going, don't lag on me. Visual Studio. Let's go, buddy. What happened? You're processing something. Please don't crash on me. Well, come on. This is not fun. No! I was so close. Why are you freaking out on me? I am actually kind of proud of how far along this has come, though. After just like, 1 weekend. That's kind of cool. I think, because I've been doing this I haven't worked on it really outside of the streaming time, so it's been 3 streams, each of them like 3 hours, 4 hours-ish, like 2 to 4 hours for each one. So it's like maybe a full work day's worth of effort basically to implement this feature. That's not so bad actually. Okay, Visual Studio, really, what is happening? Is this something that my Vim plugin is like freaking out about or what? Come on, come on. Do I just need to restart this? Yeah, I think I'm gonna restart this. This is editor resource picker at 8:58 or 8:59. Okay. Oh yeah, task. Yeah, I could have done that. I mean, I assume it just got stuck in some stupid loop while doing the IntelliSense because I was literally just typing out a simple line of code. So I bet it was something related to that. Resource picker 8:59. Wasn't it? Did I get the wrong line number? Did I just completely blank on where I was working on this? Oh, I just said it aloud. This derivatives, here we go. Yeah, this bit. Right? Failed to set a resource of the type because it only accepts. And then here I added this stuff. Script server is global class base type if global script flags script server get global class flags for base type. Fixed like 50 bugs this weekend because I'm trying to have an updated version for our demo for an event tomorrow. Dang. I just put off bugs, but it feels so good to get rid of them. Yeah. Yep. It is annoying how it crashes like that sometimes. I'm thinking it's an exaggeration, but still a lot of bugs, like maybe 14 or something. I mean, it could be wrong, but flags, if flags ampersand global script export. So if it's not that, which I guess it's not actually bad to program it that way because they did that in other areas. So, if not flags ampersand global script export, then we need to push an error. Which one? Error failed message. Error failed message. Let's see. Failed to set a resource of the type. Failed to set a resource. I don't need this bit. Failed to set the resource because this editor resource picker is yeah, because this editor resource picker is configured to because this editor resource picker's configured or required class required base class is no longer exportable or is no longer visible to the editor, the Godot editor. It's base type. Required base class is no longer visible. There we go. And then you'd also need to do set base type, right? They have that as a function. Yes, they do. So you'd have that be set up there as well, where you're not allowed to set a base type that's not exported. Error message, error fail message. Yeah, this thing. Only use this macro if more complex error detection and recovery is required. Prints in as current function. So if I just made the change down here, yeah, we'll do it again up here basically. Pretty sure I'm not exaggerating too much. Nice. Well, congrats if that's the case. Oh crap, yeah, I can't quite do that, can I? Put that back. Then we'll have this go back here, take out the declaration, and then global script none. And then if it's there, you get it. And you check this inside of the if statement. Error fail miss. Wait, that's the same thing. Don't you? No, condition. That's what I wanted. Error fail condition message. Error fail cond message, which means you have to supply this. And it doesn't have a return value, so. There you go. So if not flags with export, then don't lose my message. I need to keep that message format. There we go. So that should work. And in this case, we're not setting the resource. So you just say, and not set editor resource picker base class to as it is not visible to the Godot editor base type, as it is a non-exported global script class. I wonder if I feel like that's a better description of the error. That's because the required base class is a non-exported global script class. That's a better way of describing it. What is the version of VS? This is VS 2022, I think. Right? Doesn't I thought so. Help. Yeah, 2022 64-bit. 17.2.5. It's like the newer version that came out. Okay. We'll see if this works. And then I'll need to, if it's all working correctly, with the right error messages and whatnot, then I'll need to rebase it onto a separate branch that's not built on top of all the other GDResol stuff, because it needs to be its own separate PR that's not really related at all to any of the other GDScript stuff I'm doing. Well, no, it's probably should be like part of the same thing-ish, maybe. It's its own PR, but I could just incorporate it as like part of the PRs that could go into this thing. I still need to make sure it's rebased onto the original code though. That's not, that doesn't have all my other stuff jumbled in with it, because they'll want to evaluate it independently. Okay. There we go. Where's this? Base class industry is a non-exported global script class. But it is an exported global script class. That's not good. I was like, is that right? I don't know if that's right. Industry. This was failed to set the resource. If not flags and global script export based on the base type. Laredo, hey, no, stop. Calm down, buddy. Calm down. Yeah, I know. Hi. Calm down, dog. Industry. Why does it think that industry as a base type is not exported? Something that would be urban terrain has a property that's industry. Urban terrain. Oh, is it because this hasn't been like reparsed, reevaluated? No, it definitely still thinks it's wrong. Wouldn't that mean that it's not parsing industry properly? I need to like have this be reprocessed somehow. Save. And then try to get this to go again. See, now it works. It just didn't have it parsed correctly. So it didn't deserialize properly from the project.godot file. In which case it then had even though the code was right, it had deserialized into an erroneous state. And it hadn't reprocessed the script to update and refresh the information. Right? Isn't that what would have happened? There's industry, and now it's working. And if I go here, urban terrain, industry, and there are no new error messages. Not exactly sure what happened there. So like, cause this should now be saved properly. Huh, okay. But I did get the error message set up correctly. So now terrain. Yeah, tricky stuff. So if I take that out, Control S, try to re-render. Shouldn't that have given me an error? Industry. Oh wait, no, that was on terrain, not on industry. That's fine. But tile 2D. Still not updating. Okay, that's not good. Because I took out the, oh no, wait, what? What did I take out from, oh, from urban trade. Yeah, no, that's fine. Export. Which like, so that should be fine. Because if I take out the urban terrain export, then it would mean that I shouldn't see urban terrain here. Oh crap, I do. That's not good. This, oh wait, but that's not refreshed, right? If I have to do this and then it doesn't show it. Nope, still shows it. Okay. Well, that's a bug. We're gonna tackle that in a second. At export, or put it back in. Come on, there we go. But the terrain, if I take out the terrain export, save that, and then go to tile 2D, that should then trigger an error here. Which, if I go back to this, failed to set resource because this required base class terrain is a non-exported global script class. Yeah, that's right. I don't know when it ever calls set base type, but that would be when it's first configuring it based on the exported variable. We need auto refresh on inspector. Yeah, well, it's supposed to do that kind of thing. There's actually code that does that. Like you have to manually make a call to inform the system that it needs to refresh. So if you don't do that, then the inspector hasn't refreshed. Trying to remember what that code is though. The C# code had it that I looked at one point. At the end of their like reload assemblies function, they had that code. What was it? Mono C# script. Inspector doc update tree. Oh, so they just manually get the inspector and call it. If it's isEditor hint. Okay. So that's what I would need to do. That would be if which you would need that to happen if you save a script and the inspector has an object with that script, then you would want it to refresh that inspector. That's a bit more complex. Crap. That's definitely more complex. Because you would need to make it so that every inspector and sub-inspector reports on what script resources it is using, and just have all that data be collected into like a hash map of like script path to inspector pointer references. And then you'd have to say connect to signal on the script editor to like let you know when a change was made to one of those scripts. See if it matches one of the things in the hash map. Get the list of inspectors and sub-inspectors that are referencing it, and then manually refresh all of those, or whichever one is the top level one, rather. So you then have to have a sorting of that list inside of the hash map that you're like, that would be very complex. That's a whole another feature entirely. I'm not doing that with this PR. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. That would be a pretty complex one to do. Like I imagine they could do it for 4.0, like as a quality of life thing that's like trying to give, a good experience while they're fixing the bugs and whatnot. It might just be another thing that's in there. But okay. Is global class. There's something. What was did I get everything with this though? I feel like I was in the process of dealing with something. Just hinting me, yeah. I got the failed to set resource thing. Oh, I was gonna update, yeah, the inspector. That's what I was going to do. I was thinking. But you would only need to do that if there was set base type. So if you used code to manually set the base type, then you would need to trigger that the inspector should rebuild. But set edited resource, you don't want to do that because it does that like every single time. Set base type. And so in this circumstance, you'd want to do that right. Or do you want to do it in this circumstance where you set the base type to the GD native base class? I guess is how you would do it. So if this is the case, then you'd get the native base, set the base type to that, and then reload the inspector. I don't know if that's really the right approach though, because then the base type is still going to be assigned whatever it is from the thing, like whatever the original assignment was that's coming from the script's exported property. Next best feature after 4.0, yeah. I'm not sure of what the best way to refresh this is. So for now, thinking I shouldn't do anything. That seems like another decision that kind of has to be made for how to best tackle that. But it's not directly related to this actual feature. I'll add a to do though, like possibly update inspector tree. After reassigning base class to global class native base type. Yeah. Okay, I think it's a good like stopping point for here. I do need to rebase this, but so what is this? Add global at, or add op level at export to separate class name, I guess. Do that. Okay, so now need to make it a separate feature and push it. Get status, right? So this is the all 4.0. Git checkout GDRes base. Git checkout. What are we gonna call this? GDRes class name export. And then git cherry pick GDRes all 4.0. Now we got to resolve the conflicts. I knew that would happen. Seems to work. Yeah, I mean, it seems to. Resource script path. Yes, I'll need both of these changes. because we need to add in the other change. Wait, what? Icon path. Thought we had the other change, right? Oh no, whoops. So I just wanted the other one. I just want this. No, I want these changes. Give me all of these. What was the thing that I was missing from this side? Get global script class. Star R icon path. Yeah, I still have that. Yeah, okay. Weird. -9. Yeah. Don't really know if we're doing a 9, but next conflict here. Yeah, we're adding both of these. Resource script. See, resource script path, I don't have the resource script path. Oh, which means I don't need it in the other thing. Duh. I don't need that stuff. Which is also why it doesn't really quite make sense to have that mixed in. Ugh. Yeah. See, this is why it's weird when people are making changes to the file system cache and then you're like building in parallel with them, so you're not on top of them and they're not ahead of you, but you're just like both going off of the same branch, and so you're both trying to make changes to the same segment, and so you have to like wait until one is actually merged in and then rebase again on top of that. Like a little weird. Which means I actually did it wrong in the other file because it's incorporating that change into its code. Wait, you know what? Which means I'm just gonna git status, git cherry pick abort, and redo it. Wait, no, I meant that. There we go. We redo this. Take that out. Don't save. Here. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, so here. Now don't do that with this. Like, just pretend temporarily that you're not building on top of someone else's code. So you're actually doing file system cache 8. Then you add this thing in, but you got to make sure you get the indexes right because it's not the same anymore. So this is we don't have this line, and this is index 3. Because I promise I'm not building on someone else's code. And then add this in. But I'm not doing this thing because again, I'm not doing that. All right. And then resource script path isn't here anymore. Oh, wait, no, I need to add in this. There we go. But I don't actually have this thing before me. Plus. Yeah, okay. That's all the conflicts there. We'll add this in and take out this bit. And then here, no conflicts. Here. What? Oh yeah, crap. This kind of is built on other stuff, right? Yeah. Because they just didn't have any of this stuff. And I added all of it. Crap. Management is hard, yeah. I guess I'll just add all this for now. Well, just make sure that this is always like rebased on top of GDScript changes. You know what? No, I'm gonna make this rebased on top of the GDScript changes. Like it's just gonna be dependent on that PR. Because otherwise it doesn't make sense for this feature to really exist the way it does. So just add in all this stuff and say accept, and then after you've got it rebased that way, do another rebase on the other one. Status, cherry pick, continue. Is that a thing? Yeah. Okay, and then status, right? So now I can log. It's on top of the GDRes base. Now I want to do git rebase on top of GDRes GDScript. Which it has this, yeah, it's going to get to that same piece of code. And script. Because I added stuff, right? There's one remaining. The other stuff was auto merged. Wait, what's the big difference here though? Should show me the big difference. Oh, because I don't have this stuff on the left. Exported script type must extend, I guess have both? What? Why is, yeah, there's class and then script. I feel like I'm missing something. This doesn't have my custom class things though. Where's all the extra stuff that I did? Oh, it's up here. Okay. Which, that has more or less all the same behavior though. So I just need this bit then. Yeah, it's because I changed that class name thing too, I think. Because I didn't need it anymore. You've got class name here, which we set here to the same value. And that's why I had that conflict. Okay. All right. So then status, rebase, continue, log. So you add the GDScript resource export and then add top level at export to separate class name. Yeah. GDRes class name export. Yeah. So then push u origin GDRes class name export. And then I can submit the pull request and add it into the GDResol stuff, which I should now be able to rebuild GDResol properly. GitHub. Pull requests. Increase script class name access. Oh, what? Crap. Did someone else did this? 6 days ago. Oh, wow. This was a while back? Oh, wait, no, they're just exposing it so you can access the data. Okay. Whew. I was like, did someone already do this? What? Okay. All right. Resource export and allow exporting custom resources, which apparently is failing a build for some reason. EditorResourcePicker update resource. Oh, okay. The inspector branch is not recreated correctly. All right. Check out GDRes inspector. And then which files was it? Update resource needs to be indented. Okay. Update resource. Why is it giving me the error? It still has it. Okay, I don't know what that's about. Just IntelliSense catching up, probably. So aha, this. Yeah, these are not indented. I don't know how that ended up being saved that way, but okay. Is that all it was? I'm guessing, yeah. Oh no. Resource format loader XML. Allow exporting custom resources. Okay. I think they added something to it. And then because I'm building on top of someone else's resource format loader, who also added something to it, now their generated documentation is conflicting. That's what it looks like. So my quick open would need to have that fixed. Okay, so that's easy enough to fix for this one, right? Get status, right? Already updated this. Check out GDRes quick open, which then needs to have generate doc tool. That would involve me actually running Godot though. So I would have to compile it. Windows -J6. So if that builds, and then I can regenerate the documentation and make sure that it's fixed up, and then I can push that, and then I can rebuild everything together and get it all pushed out. So cool. I think that's pretty much all I'll be covering really today, I think. I gotta get all these dogs fed because everyone's looking for dinner and they're all getting antsy. So thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you all next time.